So the first true shot of the trailer is the runner stepping onto the mushroom that emits the green spore cloud. As a side note, it's interesting that the spores of this mushroom are green, as the false parasol is the only mushroom that I'm aware of that has green spores. It's also highly toxic. Now, I'm not saying that this is a mushroom from the planet Earth, but it is interesting that they're utilizing this green color, which is also the green color seen in all the synthetic bodies that are being crafted later on in the trailer. Also, it's obviously the color most associated with Durandal, and the only representation that we have of any of the AI from the original is Durandal's green face in the chapter Durandal in the first Marathon game. The green color could indicate that these mushrooms are synthetic, just like the caterpillars and the AI body form that we see later on in the trailer as well. It could also just indicate that green itself is a toxic or alien color, and that these are unsafe and of this foreign alien world, Tau Ceti. The next interesting thing that we see are the silkworms, which are crafting the synthetic artificial bodies that the runners are going to be putting their consciousness into. It's interesting that the silkworms are technology themselves utilized to craft these advanced robots. The ARG indicates different series of these machines, possibly meaning that that's what deviates the different classes in the game. Certain units would be more versatile, light, or heavyweight, and each representative of a certain playstyle that could assist a team. And this is the Marathon, or at least what remains of it after it was destroyed by the Four in 2794. It appears that these beams on the inside of the moon that originally housed the Marathon are holding the slender vessel in place. I've seen it said that these are akin to the Christ Sol Orbiters, which were solar sailing vessels that would deliver resources to Mars from Earth, but those were described as looking like hollow potatoes, so this would be a very high-speed potato. My assumption is that this is the forward operating base of one of, if not all, of the entities which have interest over controlling the resources on Tau Ceti 4, the UESC, Traxxas, Sakaguchi, and Maida. Although we do later see that UESC appears to be written on the underside of this vessel, so maybe these other organizations don't have any part in this actual ship. I could imagine an ODST-style deployment system on this extensive map that would add an element of preparation that's beyond picking a spawn point. Like, perhaps that's why the storm is shown towards the end of the trailer. Maybe various weather events or external elements could impact the likelihood of a successful drop. Or imagine picking a risky insertion location and getting separated from your teammates initially due to a storm. Could be an interesting element that spices up the where we drop in style of gameplay. The countdown that we see on the back of the runner's back obviously builds up this tension of this exfiltration-based game and is a nice visual representation of probably what the game is going to feel like to play. These bag bodies, sealed like new toys, remind me very heavily of the replicants seen in Blade Runner 2049. Hopefully Jared Leto isn't creeping around somewhere down in the abandoned colony, but especially alongside the clean aesthetic seen on the internal areas where these bodies are being constructed, it definitely has a very cyberpunk feeling to it. Here we see this digitized outline of what appears to be a feminine body with wings. The only female AI character from the original trilogy is Leela, I guess using the term female loosely, and some of the marketing materials reference a long-dormant AI. Now, Leela is last known to have gone rampant and taken control of a Valet 15-world FTL computer network after she was stolen from the Four and sold as junk. It would seem possible that, given the amount of space she could have expanded into, which is the hypothetical solution to rampancy, she could have figured out a way to get back onto Tau Ceti. Or a construct could have been sent down to the colony in between the victory over the Four's initial attack and the subsequent loss to the Four 3 months later. What would probably align closer to the concept of Lawn Dormant is the idea of a Yarrow AI hidden on the world prior to any human involvement. This could explain the wings, which are much more akin to an alien construct of an AI than one based purely on a human. Although I do like the idea of the wings symbolizing Leela's freedom after achieving a certain level of autonomy given the immense amount of power she surely wields with that FTL network. Now here at the bottom, "They are waiting" is seen in yellow, which is a throwback to the original slogan for the game, probably indicating that the lore and story feel is going to carry over from those games. Okay, so now you can see the UESC print on this runner and an associated dog tag. I wonder if collecting these dog tags could get the runner rewards or maybe build up one's infamy, as Bungie is calling it in the Vidoc. Okay, so the SFIT compiler confirming that, yes, we will be seeing at least some of the original aliens. Now, given that the website references the year 2850 when describing the available technology, I think it's safe to assume that the events of the game will take place near to this period. This is prior to the UESC and the SFIT Kur combining forces to repel the Four, but after the reclamation of Lehuan. This implies that if they are an enemy, then they are most likely still being controlled by a Four controller, which was a floating mech abomination boss fight from the first game. Killing it is what convinces the SFIT to team up with Durandal and rebel against the Four. We know that the Four do sometimes retain a presence on planets, which they have already overtaken, such as when an entire fleet was presiding over Lehuan for 6 years prior to Durandal's arrival in the stolen Four ship, because they knew that Durandal would go searching for ancient technology that was spoken about in SFIT mythology. I would imagine that there is some unit of Four stationed permanently on Tau Ceti, not only to capture and enslave any additional humans who came searching for the remains of the colony, but also to potentially search for ancient Yarrow technology hidden on Tau Ceti. Now, that isn't obviously confirmed, although there is a map Easter egg in the original Marathon that says the Yarrow were on Tau Ceti. The final red AI definitely reminds me of Tycho, who seemingly went mad with rage after Durandal's actions on Tau Ceti. When you later speak to Tycho throughout the games, he's contacted through red terminals. Although I feel like it's unlikely that Tycho himself is going to make an appearance. When the characters are on full display here, I really love the modular kits that they have. It seems like there may be many different tools to carry and use that can personalize your character and playstyle. I like the idea of being able to choose the location and size of these pouches to potentially gear your player to be better suited to maybe gathering artifacts, healing, a support role, maybe a sniper, and it seems like the base models of the runners are modular enough that the customization for this would be satisfying. And this overhead map definitely seems like a type of view you'll get in-game when determining where you're going to go to search for loot. The final shot is obviously rad and the music is perfect. Crunchy, 90s sci-fi, gaming techno like an arcade machine did acid. I love it. Overall, I feel like the teaser trailer does a good job of capturing a modernized version of what the aesthetic of Marathon would look like if it, had the ability to naturally progress over the past 30 years. I think, like with most sci-fi, earlier versions of it are fighting against the fact that they have very lofty concepts and ideas for how things visually would look, but they were limited by the technology. So although this isn't the, weird closed-off corridors of the Marathon or the abstract shapes of Lehuan or even the, puddles of water and lava and infinity, I do think that this is kind of a natural progression of what that world could or would have looked like if the studio had the ability to create a more visually accurate representation of their world back in the 90s. I'm very excited for this game to come out, and I'm looking forward to diving into new lore that will surely be revealed once we get a few more trailers, Vidocs, and then ultimately the game. So if you're interested in kind of learning more about the lore or the story of Marathon, or you're just excited to play the game, please consider subscribing, because I'm going to be doing a lot more videos like this, where I kind of get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty of the story and background on the characters and world that this excellent sci-fi universe encompasses. So thank you very much. Bye.